Lisa sat in her mother's lap with her arms folded, her head slightly bowed, wearing an expression that practically screamed, "I would rather be elsewhere." Beside her sat her father, Lynn Sr., and before sat her Miss Shornavas, sitting behind the teacher's desk with her hands folded on top. Lisa found these monthly parent-teacher conferences excruciatingly tedious. Every session played out the exact same way. Your daughter has demonstrated expertly aptitude in every subject. She's performed far beyond expectations, blah blah blah. On the positive side, Lisa's parents had promised her ice cream afterwards, so at least she would have something to look forward to. She just needed to sit still and tune out to her teacher for a half an hour or so, and it would all be over. Or so she thought. Her curiosity pipped when Miss Shrinovas began the conference with a sentence that Lisa never heard her use before. "I've been having some concerns of your daughter, Lisa." Lisa's weary eyelids flipped open. What was there something to be concerned about? "She's not having any trouble socializing, is she?" Lynn Sr. asked. "Actually, no," said Miss Shrinovas. "Not anymore anyway. About a month ago, I told her that I was going to give her an F in social skills if she didn't start making friends. But she made a friend since then. Two of them get along famously." This provoked a small smile from Lisa, who felt a glimmer of pride managing to bond with Darcy Hemmeldorler in spite of her vast differences. "Well then, that's good to hear," said Lisa. "But if that's not the problem, then what is it?" Miss Shrinovas sighs. "The problem is her science experiments." Rita and Lynn Sr.'s eyes burst open. "Her science experiments?" asked Rita. "What's wrong with those?" Miss Shrinovas sighed again, giving the parents a sympathetic look. "I know that must be not easy to hear," she said. "I'm sure you take plenty of pride in your daughter's scientific aptitude, but her experiments involve handling substances that both violate and hazardous." Her face hardened when she leaned over her desk, looking at the parents straight in the eye. Just a few weeks ago, she almost caught a drop of concentrated acid in Darcy's eye. "In my defense," said Lisa, "I have warned her several times that—" "Lisa, hush," interrupted Lynn Sr. "Mommy and Daddy are talking." Lisa rolled her eyes, but then let them return to the conversation, and prepared to jump back in if she needed to. Even though Darcy wasn't hurt, there was no telling what would happen the next time one of the other children wanders too close to her. "What's the big problem?" asked Rita. "Just take her away her science equipment. Problem solved." "Over my dead—" Lisa began, only hushed by Rita. "I'm afraid it won't be that simple," Miss Shrinovas said, with a solemn look of it and shaking her head. "I've seen Lisa conduct dangerous experiments with ordinary household objects. Once during snack time, she saw her use a pickle to channel electric current, turning it into a crude light. As soon as I saw it, I warned all the other children not to touch it. But if I hadn't stepped in soon enough, someone could have been electrocuted." With an escalated gasp from Rita, though Lisa didn't understand why, after all, shouldn't have already known how dangerous her experiments were. "It pains me to say this, but Lisa's simply too brilliant for her own good," said Miss Shrinovas. "We need to put her in an environment where she won't be a threat to herself or anyone else until she learns from some restraint." Lynn Sr. narrowed her eyes at her teacher. "What are you suggesting, exactly?" "I'm saying that Lisa needs to be taken out of kindergarten." Lisa shrugged, figuring that a change of scenery would do some good. True, she did miss Darcy if she could just easily find some of her students to make friends with. "I guess we could do that," said Rita. "So, where should we put her in? 4th grade, 5th, 6th? Miss Shrinovas maintained her worry, a sorrowful frown. "No, I'm not proposing moving her forward," she said. "I'm proposing moving her back." Rita let out a gasp. This one twice as big as the last, threw her hand over her gaping mouth. Meanwhile, Lisa was left in a state of stunned silence, as she struggled to process what she had just heard, the idea of the girl intelligent being held back. No, sent back to a grade was preposterous for her to comprehend. "Back?" asked Lynn Sr. "You're telling us to send her back to preschool?" "To be honest, I think even that too might be too dangerous," said Miss Shrinovas. "To ensure her safety, we'd have to send her back even further." "But the only grade below—" preschool is Lynn Sr. didn't seem to be struggling to finish, but as if one of her last two words got caught in his throat. Is what? Asked Lisa, apprehension entering her voice. Is what? This time her parents didn't even acknowledge her, instead keeping her gazes onto her teacher. Miss Shronovas, are you saying what's the best solution? Asked Rita, her voice breaking. Miss Shronovas looked down at Lisa, displaying a drop of feeling of regret of what she was about to say. I'm afraid there's only one solution. Rita and Lynn Sr. nodded, both with a quiet resignation etched onto their faces. Without saying another word, she picked up Lisa off of her lap and handed her over to the teacher. What's going on? Demanded Lisa, wriggling around Miss Shronovas' grip, and carried out of the room. Where are you taking me? I have to know right now of this details of this new educational adjustment. Miss Shronovas didn't say a word, but she didn't have to. As it turns out, she would get her answer as soon as she saw the teacher arrive at this door at the end of the hall, one labeled daycare in cutesy capital bubble letters. Lisa's stomach churned as Miss Shronovas opens the door to reveal the room scattered around with blocks, rocking horses, jack-in-the-boxes, teddy bears, and other infantile phenomenon. The walls were painted in murals depicting over Scarney's scenes of stick figures, children holding hands under a rainbow, while grinning sun beaming down at them. On one side of the room was a plastic hexagonal multicolored playpen. I'm sorry, Lisa, but this is for your own girl. Good, Miss Shronovas said with a sigh as she carried Lisa over to the playpen and dropped her in. Miss Shronovas, wait! Lisa cried as her teacher turned her back and exited the room. There must be a less drastic solution to this problem. I could take additional precautions too. Lisa then swirled around towards the voice and found a brown teddy bear in a cute blue ribbon around its neck and sitting in the middle of the playpen. It's so nice to meet you, Lisa, said the teddy bear, rising to its feet and holding out its arm towards her. At its full height, it towered over at least a foot over Lisa. There is always room for more babies here at daycare. Lisa flinched, baffled at how the teddy bear was talking when it barely knew its name. I'm sorry, this must be all a big misunderstanding. I was placed here due to questionable judgment of my kindergarten teacher. I'm not a baby. The teddy bear set its stubbly hand to its snout and stifled a giggle. Are you sure? It asked. You look like one. Lisa looked down at herself and let out a horrified gasp. In lieu of her usual green sweater and necklace, was now wearing a green baby tree, along with a thick plush diaper. What? She asked, her face fluttered with shame. I didn't put those on. Well, of course you didn't, silly, said the teddy bear. Babies are too little to dress themselves. That's not what I meant, sputtered Lisa. I don't know who put me in this pearly outfit, nor do I have any motivation for doing so. But I can say with absolute certainty that I'm not a baby. The teddy bear started advancing towards her, hobbling on its stubby legs. But you don't want to be? Don't you want to drink your milkies and play with big blocks and crawl around in your diaper? No, that sounds dreadful, cried Lisa. You're supposed to be intimidate. The teddy bear wagged its paw in a playful manner, scolding gesture. Babies aren't supposed to use that word big. That's because I'm not a baby. Lisa jabbed her finger towards the playpen. Now please undo this lock of contentment units and let me leave. But the teddy bear just shook its head. Oh no, we don't want that. We want to keep you in a place where we can watch you. What if you make a wetsy, or what if you go boom boom and fall down on your tushy wooshy? Lisa cringed at the cutesy language that the teddy bear was using. That's enough, she spat. I demand you address me to the dignity and intelligence I deserve. Suddenly the teddy bear's felt eyebrows arched forward, narrowed downward on his button eyes. What a rude, naughty baby, it said, its tone shifting from playful to threatening. I warned you about using the word big, but it looks like it wasn't good enough. I think someone needs to be spanked. The teddy bear's voice suddenly dropped on an octave tone on the last word, causing Lisa to jump to her skin. As her frightened eyes were locked upon the bear, she noticed tiny metal claws starting to poke out of its claws. That was all the motivation she needed to make a break for it. Unfortunately, that would prove it to be easier said than done. due to the bulk of her diaper. She was forced into an awkward waddle, and that she could only manage to make it a few feet before losing her balance and falling on her butt. Frantically, she pushed herself onto her hands and knees and tried to crawl away, but then the bear caught up to her. Lisa felt his paw coiled itself around its ankle, and she winced as she felt its small claws nicked at her skin. "You're being very difficult, Lisa," it said sharply. "Seems like I'm going to have to teach you the lesson to behave." "No!" Lisa hollered, her voice cracking. "Get away from me! I'm not a baby! I don't need a spanking!" Tears started to well up in protests and went unheeded, although desperately tried to keep them in. The teddy bear lifted her up and carried her over to a small table set in the center of her playpen. While she flailed about in his grips, once there, he took a seat at the table, put Lisa over its knee, and started smacking her on the table on the rear, and as hard as it could, Lisa bit her lip and clenched her eyes shut from the punishment that was doled out, determined not to give the satisfaction of seeing her cry. But by the time she endured the 10th consecutive slap, she was about ready to give up. The stinging, agonizing pain was simply too great for her to tolerate. The bear had broken her. "Mommy!" she bawled, with hot tears fogging up her glasses, streaming down to her cheeks. "Mommy!" The feeling of the teddy bear's paw striking her one more time was the last thing she felt before she woke up.